What's happening, Pod Squad? Welcome in to another episode of the show, brought to you by our friends at Mighty Line. They are continuing to sponsor the show, which is great because we love them. So if you want a free sample kit of Mighty Line products, mightylinetape.com/stripe it, and they will hook you up. In person today, this is exciting. We don't do nearly enough in person. So my guest today is local to Prince George. They are a business owner themselves, has been actually a multiple business owner.
Do we know each other?
I'm introducing you, please.
Oh, sorry.
Multiple business owner, also a pavement business owner. So here in Prince George. This person is entertaining, hilarious, intelligent, beautiful. I say that about all the guests. I say that about all the guests. Don't worry. No, they're all beautiful. I'll just get right into it. It's my wife. It's Robyn Roberts. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. We've been talking about this for a while. But then I had a baby and...
I've kind of just waited as long as humanly possible just to build it up.
Why?
I don't know.
Just to build it up?
I think so. I think the longer the show went before my spouse came on, I think it just makes it better.
Is that why yesterday I was so nervous and I said, hey, what are we going to talk about? And you're like... Not telling you.
Yeah, no, I don't usually tell them. It's a conversation. We do this. We literally do this every night. We talk about ridiculous things.
I suppose usually there's.
Okay, let me conduct the show.
Sorry,
okay? That's fine. Drink your Starbucks. So yeah, Robyn is here in the studio today. So I wanted to bring you in because A, you're my spouse and it's the right thing to do. But B, from a business perspective, you have literally been involved since the beginning. Even when it was just, a sole proprietorship. I mean, your name wasn't technically on it, but you've been in it. Like mentally, emotionally, financially, you are in it.
I think it's fair to say that you wouldn't have done it had I not supported it.
We're going to talk about that too.
Okay.
So, but first tell people about who you are. Who are you? Give us the backstory. Who's Robyn?
That's a deep question.
Give us the two minute version.
I love animals.
Let me help you. You're a mother.
Yeah. Everybody says that though.
People need to know.
I love animals. I have far too much yarn in the house than I know what to do with.
Confirmed.
Or have time with because I'm a mother of 3 daughters.
There you go.
10. Well, I'm sure you've talked about them before, but 10, 8, and 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we have animals.
We do. Not that many, though. Just fish. 1 cat, 1 dog. Nothing crazy.
You want to add to the animals?
No, thank you. Okay, so give us, the background. Where did you grow up? What did you do? Your work history? Just the 2-minute version. Okay. We need to build the story here.
Okay.
Robyn, who you are.
I was born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
All of our American listeners just started. They're like, what?
Yeah, because that's the majority of who listens, right?
Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Saskatchewan, eh?
Yeah.
Born in Saskatoon, left when I was about 6. So that's kind of I don't remember much there. My grandparents are still there. Moved to Edmonton, which my dad said would never, ever happen. And then we did that because of his work. So moved to Edmonton. The fun thing about me, too, is I have moved an average of once a year in my life. That slowed down when I met you, but once a year in my life. So I've moved somewhere around 30 times.
Yeah.
Somewhere. 25 to 30. So moved to Edmonton, moved various times, but always stayed kind of in the same school until junior high, high school. In Alberta, there's junior high and high school. And then I started working in an office when I was 14, just in the summers.
Oh, I thought it was 15. I told someone 15 today.
Is there really a difference?
That's
14,
pretty young,
15?
man. Is it even legal to hire 14-year-olds? I don't know.
Well, my dad worked at the shop.
Oh,
so
that helps. Yeah.
I think it is legal as long as you have a social insurance number.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah.
Nope, that wouldn't make sense because you're born, you get a social insurance number.
I'm sure everything you did was legal.
Okay.
You started working at a very young age.
Yes,
is the point.
at a machine shop and doing little bits of everything. It started out with just filing. You would hate this because you love paperless, but I would come in on my 1 day a week that I worked back then, and there would be stacks of thousands of papers that needed to be filed. And so I would spend my day usually in a chair, but bent over, one of those metal filing cabinets. and I would open the file folder, and it had the like metal slidey things, and then you would open the prongs, and then I would hole punch, stick a piece of paper in. It had to be in the right spot. I don't remember how you had to file them, but you had to be in the right spot. So I had to lift papers off, put it in, and then close it back up. And by the end of the day, my fingers were like, it still hurts.
You did that all day?
Yeah.
Wait, like after school?
No, it started in the summer. So I was off school.
I see.
And
that sounds horrible.
well, I loved it though.
Like I got working like 2 to 3 hours a day or something.
No, full days. And then it went to 3 days a week. And then by the time I was 16, I think I was working 1 week on, 1 week off or something. I don't remember. But And fun fact, I was only making $8 an hour.
Oh, that's so gross. That's Canadian too, which is like even less. Well, I think back then it was about the same. Okay, so you've been working for your parents got you working at a young age, and then eventually you moved to Fort St. John, this really small place. We meet, and then what happens?
Your version or mine?
No, the correct version, which will be more like my version. But no, just tell it like it is.
We meet.
Yep. You're really struggling. This is our life, Robyn.
Well,
what's the
I know
struggle
what happened, but how truthful should I be? No,
just we were married young.
We didn't we were friends right away, but we didn't.
Yeah, that's right.
We weren't. I wasn't interested in you right away.
That is also correct.
And then we were friends for a good year or two, and you were just hilarious. That's actually the first thing that I loved about you was, can I say that on this? Can I talk? Can you
tell?
Can I acknowledge that I love you?
I don't know, Matt.
Matt, can I say it? Is that appropriate? Okay, Matt allows it. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for checking. Every other guest tells me they love me. You can be another one. That's fine.
I hope mine means more.
Yours means more. Very much so.
So, yeah, we meet, we chat, we text. Back then it was like T9 texting.
Oh yeah.
And you told me your stupid cookie joke about. Never mind, it's too crummy. And
I don't think I ever said that, did I?
You did. I was having a really bad day, and you texted me a couple really cheesy jokes.
Oh yeah, actually I would do that. Yeah.
And then sometime you waited until right after I had my appendix out. Yeah. It was a week or two later.
A week post-op.
And you didn't come to my house.
No.
You said, hey, meet me behind the high school.
That's normal.
And it was December.
Yeah, it was like minus 20.
It's very cold. And so then we started dating, and it was 9 months dating to marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't waste time. Yeah. I saw Matt oh man. Yeah. We were 20. Well, you were I was a week before, or 2 weeks before I turned 20.
Yeah, October 16th. Our anniversary's coming up.
True.
Just
that.
Don't forget
week,
that.
I would not forget. Next week is 14 years. All right. That's a good summary. That was excellent.
Well, that's up until 14 years ago.
So we were married. You're still working. You're working at a glass shop.
Mm-hmm.
They loved you to death there. I was actually just telling a couple people that story this morning. Actually, you were like the chosen one of that place.
Oh,
you were supposed to work there forever.
Man, if they ever listen to this, I wouldn't put it that way.
Well, I said it. I don't think they're listening, and B, if they are, you were the chosen one. That's fine. But then I feel like I'm just guiding you through because I happen to be there the whole time. But we ended up having kids.
What do you want? Yeah.
Go.
Okay,
go.
I'll talk and then I don't talk. So I worked at that place for about 3 years, and I loved it. I put everything I had into that business. It was, I worked in retail before. I worked at SmartSet. I was the assistant manager at SmartSet, which actually it was more of a Dwight Schrute position because they didn't actually have assistant manager.
Were you assistant to the store manager?
Our shop was too small of a level to actually have an assistant manager, but I had, anyways.
You're an ARM.
Yeah, and then I went over to another retail store where I was the actual manager, and and then Alpine, or the glass shop, hired me. So spent 3 years there, learned a ton. I started out as the receptionist, and I was so scared and so like mousy quiet and so scared to like do something wrong and make a wrong move. And in the 3 years that I was there, it really pushed me out of my comfort zone into doing and learning so much from accounts payable, accounts receivable, just customer service, and general accounting, that kind of thing. But then we had other goals. We wanted to start a family. We had some personal goals that I need to stop moving, sorry. We had some
you're good.
personal goals that we wanted to pursue. And so I worked part-time and found myself in bookkeeping. I connected with someone who, I can't remember how I actually got started, but I connected with someone who wanted to like mentor me in bookkeeping. And that's what it was. I was placed somewhere for like a temporary position to help out with the books in accounting, and she was working at the same shop. It was like a truck canopy shop. Do you remember that?
I do. I
100th
totally
Street
do.
there?
Oh, yeah.
And she saw what I could do, and she said, "You'd be an excellent bookkeeper. This is what you should be charging. I'll help you." And she got me my first incredible, this is a funny story, incredible gig as a bookkeeper. Do you remember my first?
I think I do.
It's the bathroom.
It is the bathroom one. Yeah, I do remember.
Where my office was in a bathroom. Like, people would come in and not realize that there was a bookkeeper sitting at a desk, because why would they? There's a toilet, a shower, and then a bookkeeping desk.
Obviously.
But, so the amount of times I had to say, before you pull your pants down, let me leave.
And you get mad at me for like HR related issues that I say, like that's way worse. We don't make people work in bathrooms at our company.
Well, I didn't make anybody work in a bathroom.
I can't believe you did.
And then when I quit, this guy had the nerve to say, "Is it because of the bathroom?"
it's cheapers.
Yes.
They're going to say that's a pretty big part of it.
Has something to do with it, I suppose.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that was quite the thing. So we were married by that point, obviously.
Yeah.
But we didn't have kids yet.
No. We
Okay.
were still in that 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh yeah, that was tiny, man.
With the no hot water.
Yep, I remember that too. So we have kids. 2014.
Yeah.
Then what? Then what do you do?
You were kind enough to let me stay home with the kids.
I was kind enough.
Yeah.
Oh, how did we afford that?
I don't know.
Man, I wasn't making like amazing money back then.
No, but we had bought a very inexpensive home to live in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I got a little severance at a job, and it was just enough to buy an old jalopy of a modular home. Yeah.
Which we still own.
Yeah, we still own it. It's still old.
It's still old. Things don't tend to get younger. So we bought the trailer on its own property, though. It wasn't in a trailer park.
That's true. We're not true trailer trash. Yeah.
Can't say that.
No, just like a slight. Oh, come on. It's a trailer. That's fine.
I suppose.
Okay, so we buy the trailer, have kids, and then what?
We're at home happy. You're working at the glass shop that I had previously been at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And along comes kid number 2, which was not
We weren't planning on having
planned.
it that fast.
No.
Definitely no.
Our first was only 12 or 13 months old. She was a year old.
Yep.
So that happened. And then, so she was born in 2016. 2017 was kind of a blur for me because I had pretty massive depression back then.
2 kids, trying to figure it all out. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a roommate in there, some 6 months somewhere in there.
Yep.
Anything else crazy happen? No, not really. Not until
Not until 2018.
Not until 2018. And then 2018 kind of like that's when our lives really changed.
Oh man. So I've talked about it before already on the show. So yeah, February 5th, I chopped my fingers off on a table saw. Shatak! And
Was that the sound it made?
That was the sound. No, it was like well, I've said this before too. I've told you this. It was like a lead pipe hit it.
Yeah.
It turns out like human flesh and bone hitting a table saw at 15,000 RPM is an unusual sound. It is, of all the things, it's the sound I remember. It was like ping. Yeah, it was really odd.
I think the pinging was it hitting your wedding band.
I was wearing my wedding
You're
ring.
not supposed to.
It's probably a good thing that I did.
But I think that saved your other fingers was the wedding band.
Yeah.
Like if you look at those cuts, yeah.
Always follow work safe guidelines at your
Yes.
job. Okay, good. Got that out
Sorry.
of the way. No, it's fine. So I'm just going to jump in here. So yeah, February I have the accident. I'm off work. And it turns out, I didn't really know this about myself back then, but like I don't like sitting around bored. It's you laugh because it's worse now. But like even back then, like I just didn't want to be off work. I felt so guilty. I just wanted to get back to work. So do you remember, like this is a legitimate question. Do you remember me coming to you about the line painting idea?
Yeah, we were sitting in the living room on our green sectional couch.
Okay.
And you were like, I can't remember exactly because you've had so many ideas.
It's
But
true.
you said something to the effect of, so I have this idea.
Nothing changes. Sorry, look at Matt because I'm like, I say
Does
that.
he say that often, Matt? Yeah.
Oh,
a couple-
and that's
so I
just
have-
to you. Yeah, I got this idea.
And I was
Yeah.
used to it, but I was like, okay, let's hear it.
Yeah.
And you were like, sorry, I keep taking over to talk.
That's why you're here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said to me, I have this idea. I don't remember where the kids were. And I was like, oh, okay, let's hear it. And you said, there really isn't, I want to buy this lime painting machine. I tapped my cup and you looked at it.
Oh, no, you're fine. Don't worry.
I want to
Just
buy
go.
this lime painting machine. And I was like, what's a lime painting machine? What do you mean? Like you want to paint? Like
I didn't know either.
I was imagining like you spray painting buildings, the side of it, like before you did. Like I
never
was
told
like,
me that.
or like curbs. Like I couldn't wrap my brain around because I was just gonna let you talk.
Sure.
Yeah, you were on leave because of your surgery.
Yeah.
And it
Bored
was
at home.
only the second week, I think. And I was like, how are you not I love every second of you being home. And you were like, you were miserable. You were so
Absolutely, yes.
cranky. You just like. So at that point, I was like, anything to make you happy. And I couldn't foresee you going back to that company. You did for a bit, but I don't know.
You didn't think I was going to go back to the glass shop?
I don't know how you.
couldn't
I don't know
wait
how
to
you
get
did
back.
it.
Wow. Guilt? I felt like it was my fault.
Which
and I was
made me
like,
so angry that you were guilty. You
I
kept
felt
blaming
how I
yourself.
felt. Oh, that whole year. The whole year was
Sorry,
horrible.
I'm like yelling at you.
No, it's fine. It's like at home. We get very animated at home too. I get amped. Yeah, no, that's fine. I felt guilty. Yeah, I just wanted to get back to work. I was like, well, this stinks. I don't like sitting at home. But that was like, I didn't go back to work until like March. I didn't buy the line painting machine until the May long weekend. It was like
Your
2 months
accident happened in February.
Yeah, I was back to work in March.
You were in Vancouver having your fingers sewn back on. Like
It's true.
you say back to work in March like you were off forever.
It felt like forever. Well, it was long enough for me to like pitch this idea to you, start the website, design the logo, order business cards, the whole nine.
Yeah, you
One-handed too. Like I had like a club on and like typing like
I
this.
remember. Do you remember your first design? Because it wasn't laser.
No. What? I don't remember this at all.
Do you remember the Caro contracting?
Oh, yeah. It was
On a piece of paper with pencil, and it had like a circle and a star.
So there technically was a business. I had a business called Caro Contracting.
You did, yeah.
That was the
And
janitorial and the renovation.
But you ran, if you look back, because I just did this, I had to run back to like some of our first invoices for line painting. You ran it through Caro Contracting.
I did?
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't remember that. Oops. So everything looked like laser line painting, but it wasn't.
Everything looked like laser line painting?
Like the first invoice I ever sent out wasn't laser line painting?
No, it was Caro Contracting.
I think you're wrong. Well Matt will fact check that. I'm pretty sure.
I could Google I could pull up the invoice
No
right
way.
now.
Well, yeah, but it's funny. You have no idea what you're doing when you start a business. You just make stuff up as you go. I don't know why it was a sole proprietorship. I don't know why I didn't just make a whole new company. It's not that big a deal to start a sole proprietorship. I don't know. I was pretty happy with the
you've done
logo
so
when I
then.
designed that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
The laser logo or
Yeah.
the Caro logo?
The laser logo. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
so happy with it.
You
The
should.
website, I built the website myself. Yeah, I was so happy. Do you remember the first time that I went out striping? Do you remember?
The first time, I don't remember the very first time you went out striping.
Then
I
I won't
remember
ask about
you
it then.
taking a little bit longer to come home from work
Little bit? It was a lot longer.
each day after like dropping off flyers.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. On my way home, I'd throw flyers out, just trying to drum up any line painting business I could.
Yeah, you'd be home closer to 6 p.m. ish
Yep.
after dropping off flyers. Well, tell me about the first line painting job. Maybe
No, we're not here to talk about me. I want to talk about you.
Oh.
So the line painting business starts. You see me working a full-time job. Plus, I also had a janitorial company, so I was doing like one small janitorial contract early mornings, a couple days a week. So do that, then I worked the full-time job, and then sometimes I'd go out line painting. What did you think of all this?
I thought, hey, why don't I start my own business?
Did you start it that year in 2018?
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow, I forgot about that. What did you do? What did you start?
People are gonna laugh at this. Lash technician.
Why would people laugh at that?
I don't know. It's a girly thing.
Girls
Where
listen to this podcast,
is
right, Matt? Girls listen. Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
Yeah.
Everyone has eyelashes. So, okay, so yeah, I do remember this now. Yeah, you started the eyelash business. What was life like in 2018? Like peak 2018.
Oh, it was
July, August, September, the busy season.
It was crazy. We were just like not as crazy as a few years later here in PG. But anyways, it was crazy. Like you would work all day. I would lash for a few hours trying to get my certification. And you would try and keep the dog and Peyton from our at the time youngest, who was crazy back then, from coming into the lash room. And I would spend like 3 or 4 hours lashing because I was brand new at it, and that's what it takes to like get a full set in. And you wouldn't even get a full set in that time. You just they'd walk out with. Well, I had one client walk out with one eye done. So that night I learned, okay, you shouldn't do one eye at a time. You should work back and forth.
Good
which
call.
They didn't teach me. Does that mean anything to you?
I get it. Yeah, I totally forgot you were working in our house while I was working a full-time job and starting my business. Yeah, we were crazy. What were we thinking? We also had 2 kids at home.
Well, I remember thinking like I wanted to bring something to the table too.
Right.
Just in case like
I exploded from having 3 jobs. Basically.
Yeah, I just wanted something.
Man.
Yeah, I just wanted something to fall back on or to help. And I've always had this desire to work too. Like I like working.
Did it ever cross your mind in 2018 to just, I know you really, still to this day, you still enjoy eyelash technician work, but like, was there ever a thought where you were like, I could just do the line painting thing with him? I don't remember ever talking about that.
No, because we had one machine.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a ride machine. It had no driver. It was just a pushing machine. And I mean, other than supporting you and being supportive and saying, yeah, go take whatever cash we have in our account and go buy this machine, I didn't have much to do with it back then.
Did you ever want to, though? I don't know how we would have pulled it off.
I've always wanted to work with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say we work well together?
Yes.
Oof, I mean, we've had moments.
It depends on if you are enjoying what you're doing or not.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
And then if I feel like I've done something wrong or incorrectly, then I get a little cranky.
Sure. Fair enough. Okay, I want to ask you a question about, I think a lot of people will appreciate. Do you remember when I quit my job?
Yeah.
You say that like, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you remember about it? Because for most people, that's a big stinking deal. They're terrified of quitting their job if they started any company, but like a line painting company. They're terrified of quitting their job.
I think I was the one that was pushing you to quit it.
Yep. What were you thinking? Why were you encouraging me? Because that's very different than what most people go through. Most people go through having to convince a spouse or convince a partner, like, I really think I can do this full time. Whereas with you, I remember as well, you were like, I think you should. Where did this blind faith and optimism come from?
It wasn't blind faith and optimism. It was, I wanted what was best for your mental health. Can I say that?
Oh, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, you were not.
Trashed my health.
You were not doing well at the glass company.
Nope.
You were. You were not doing well at the glass company. You would work a full 8-10 hours there. come home just long enough for me to get a client in and then go back out and paint. I don't even know how much sleep you were getting because we also had a toddler who didn't sleep.
Yeah. Still doesn't really sleep that great. But
So
yeah.
when I saw the money that was coming in from Laser, or not, Carol, or whatever we called it back then, Laser, and what was coming in from the other company and what that was doing to you, I knew, I've always known that whatever you put your mind to, you will succeed at. You're incredible that way. Like, you're determined. Nothing stands in your way. You've talked about us being 30 seconds from insolvency, and
13 minutes, yeah.
13 minutes or whatever it was, and you and I in that basement, we figured it out.
Yeah.
And I've just always known that you've had that in you, that you would make it work. And you kind of had to, because we had a mortgage and we had a van, and I think by then we had the truck and 2 kids and, you know, all of these things that, like, you've never given me a reason to not trust that you will take care of us. And so I'm going to make you cry.
No. No, we've talked about this before. I just think, like, I don't know if you know how. I don't have numbers. I can't prove this, but in talking to people, I've coached people who are struggling with this. Like, they know, or they have this inkling in their gut, and maybe they don't even have the accounting numbers to justify it. I didn't have the numbers. Like,
no, we didn't have.
And I've said this consistently. If I could go back, I probably wouldn't have quit my job, knowing from a business standpoint what I know now, because there was no plan. I just had a feeling in my gut I could do it. That's rare for a spouse to be like, yeah, go ahead and quit. Go ahead and quit the stable income that provides, you know, the mortgage on the trailer and the food for the kids and the minivan, especially for a service that literally we could only do 6 months. Like, painting season in that town was like May 1st to October 15th, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Halloween if you're fortunate. Like, that's it. It's short. And you still told me to do it anyways. I don't know if you realize how rare that is.
I do, and I've had this conversation in my industry before too, or my previous industry. I'm in the asphalt pavement maintenance industry now. Yeah. But before, when I was lashing, it was it's a problem for entrepreneur or sole proprietorships or people who are self-employed. It's often a bone of contention between partners, like marriage partners or relationship partners, because there's that level of uncertainty when it comes to owning your own business. It's never a sure thing, ever. And in order for someone to get that and understand it and support it, they likely also are of that same mindset, entrepreneurs. And we both are. And so it was never a matter of like, well, how are we going to for sure make our bills? It was, we'll make our bills some way. We'll figure it out. We'll do what it takes. You know,
I guess so. So if somebody were listening, I love asking this question. If somebody were listening right now, what advice would you give to both a business owner and that person's spouse? So let's say there is a business owner who's doing what we did basically, which is just working way too much and just trying to figure it all out and just raising kids, whatever the situation is. You have a full-time job, or you have a steady income, we'll say, but you also have this business that's growing. And as a business owner, almost every business owner wants to leave their full-time job and have that other, what's on the other side. What advice would you give to the business owner and a spouse who's maybe very resistant? They're freaked out, Robyn. They're freaked out.
I have
they're not going to make
3 or 4 things rolling in my brain.
Pick one. Let's go.
First of all, the entrepreneur mindset. You don't roadblocks don't occur to you. You don't really see them. They're maybe kind of like speed bumps. So if you have a spouse or a significant other that has this desire and has this focus, you need to trust that. There has to be some level of I believe in you, because they're not going to succeed if you don't believe in them.
That's good. That's good stuff. So that's one.
That's one.
You have other stuff too.
Take it slow. Don't like it. It's like count the costs of growth. So maybe instead of like, I'm sure that if you went back and did it again, there would be things you would do differently.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we grew really, really, really quickly.
Yeah, especially in the subsequent years. Yes.
So take it a little bit slower and like get some money coming in, build your clients. But I'm not the one offering advice.
No, I want your advice. No, like it freaks people out.
It is scary.
And like I most certainly people don't talk about it a lot, right? Or at least not publicly, but behind the scenes, there's a ton of people who just want to go do their business full time, but there's resistance. And I would say probably sometimes the answer isn't to take your business full time, but if you really, really want to do it, if you really want to quit your day job and pursue this business that you've already started and do it full time, I mean, I think your advice is solid. You do have to believe to a certain extent that your significant other can do it. Did you ever think about what the worst case scenario would be for us? Like what if, so I quit my job in like March of 2019, basically I had enough jobs booked where I had the feeling in my gut. I was like, I think this will work.
Was it March of 2019 that you quit? Because
Yeah.
we moved August of 2019.
No. I quit March 19. We moved to towns in like October of 2019, right before Halloween. But that year, that first year, like I just had a feeling in my gut. Like, did you ever think about like what could go wrong? Because I don't remember discussing with you about what could go wrong. All I remember from 2019 is me going, Robyn, I have enough work booked right now. Plus, I'm sure there's going to be more coming where if I don't quit my job, I might just split in half.
That was all I need to hear. That you had enough work booked. Yeah, enough work booked. That sounded weird in my head for some reason. You had enough work booked that you couldn't physically continue doing your full-time job. And I couldn't, I thought, this is it. He's going to finally break free from this position that is destroying his mental health. Like, how do you keep showing up at a business that changed your life?
Yeah, probably not ideal. I think it could have been done. I mean, but yeah.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I knew you shouldn't be there anymore. And it was working with the lime painting business. And that was all I needed to hear to think, we will make it work whatever happens. If we have to eat rice for 6 months, that it'll never get there. But, you know, if it doesn't work, there's always work around somewhere that you can find. But I didn't let myself think about, this is going to sound crazy, but I didn't let myself think about what if we lose our house, or what if we lose our van, or what if because I knew that you would never let it get there, and I would never let it get there because we have kids to look after.
Yeah, kids are an incredible motivator. I mean, so is a partner, but like you don't stop if you have kids. You have literally no choice. You have to keep going. But
you loved it too. You would come home so happy.
Yeah,
and like
that's true.
Yeah, you just loved it, and I watched you research. I say this about you a lot. You research everything to death. And so I saw you research the machine before you bought it. I saw you research and read up on what products to use. You bought that Lime Painting for Dummies book that you read front to back in less than a week. It was true. Less than a week.
I'd bring it with me to job sites. Yeah. This is how to paint parking lots. Well, this would be a good book because I don't know how to do that.
But you're also the type of guy who, when you worked at the glass company, you were installing automatic door openers back then. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You still look at doors.
I love
walk
doors.
Through them,
Absolutely.
Especially when they don't work properly. It drives you crazy.
Insane.
I have to like push you through the door so you don't stop and try and fix it, because
it's true.
It's not what you do anymore. But you would, before you would go install something, you would bring home a manual, or you would download it off of the website, or you would watch a YouTube video, and you would figure out what you were doing the next day. And so watching even that in the job before, somewhere that you didn't have any skin in that job, you would take time out of your own personal time that you weren't getting paid for to read up on how to install this product correctly. So even watching that in a business where you didn't have any money or personal investment in, I knew that you were going to put 10 times that, if not 100 times that, into whatever you were doing personally for yourself. Like, so I knew that that would transfer over into whatever business you built. That, like, it just didn't occur to me that you wouldn't succeed.
I don't know if you know how, like, you have this habit of keep talking about me, which I don't want to talk about you.
Oh.
But, like, I don't think you realize just how, like, incredible that is. Like, part of me feels kind of bad for people that really, really, really want to start a business or do their own thing, leave their stable income source to do the business full time, and there's so much, legitimately there's so much fear or concern of what could happen. Like, oh my goodness, we might lose everything if this business doesn't work out. But you just power through.
Have they written it out on paper? Have they said, this is what I'm bringing in here, this is what I'm bringing in from my full-time job, these are our expenses, this is what I plan to do to get us through the cold months where there is no work? I would say, for someone who is skeptical, I would say put it down on paper and prove that, like, because you're a numbers person, I know that if I'm going to convince you to do something, I have to have numbers to back it up. So if there's someone who's skeptical, if your mate is not, you know, if they're worried, as they should be, if they see it on paper, that might be even just a pencil. Like, look, this is what we've brought in. These are the service agreements we already have in place. This is what we have planned to do.
Boom.
If I was skeptical, that would be enough to make me go, okay, you have a plan. You know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. I feel like I had some slight ideas of a plan. But I remember telling you as well, like, you know, even if this doesn't work out, I could just literally go get another job.
Yeah.
Maybe we're fortunate because, you know, in that town, there's like so much work opportunity. So unemployment wasn't really a high risk. I was pretty sure I could go get a job. I'm sure the glass company would take me back if I had to.
And you were also doing because you had done work at the mall, you were also getting really good at, like, because you wanted to start an HVAC business for a little bit. Do you remember that?
I almost got into that.
You almost did. I don't know why you didn't. But you got really good at picking up little jobs on the side to support our income. So you, again, we're talking about you.
Stop it. I don't want to talk
Ask me questions about me.
I do. I wanted to, because
we only have a couple minutes left, right?
We've been talking for like 40 minutes already.
Sorry.
But this is what we do every night, though, so this is like normal to me.
Well, I happen to like talking to you.
That's true. So I want to ask you about what you're doing now. Why do you look panicked? Man. So the business has changed. Obviously, now right now, I think there's just 14 of us. So 14 of us. When we get to winter, it'll bump up to like 20. So you're at home for the most part. 2 kids are in school, public school. They were being homeschooled. Now they're in public school, but there's a baby at home. She's 1 year old. So you're at home for the most part, but you still work remotely. So what do you do now, and how are you're laughing because you know what I'm going to ask. How are you trying to, like, figure out what it is you do? What is your job now?
What is my job?
I'm sure there's probably people at our company who would like to know the answer to this too. Like, what is this Robyn doing behind the scenes? I tell people you're the secret overlord that just, like, pulls the strings and does secret assignments. Just keep people on their toes.
I occasionally ask Matt if he wants a Starbucks. Yeah.
I didn't get a Starbucks.
I asked you this morning if you wanted one. You said no.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm sorry. What do you do now?
What do I do now? I don't. My main job is to keep you sane.
How's that going?
Really well, I think.
Good.
I think.
Good.
Like, you can come home and you talk about it. But the reason so we've talked about how I love to work. Like, I would be a workaholic if we didn't have kids and I wasn't married to you.
Yeah.
So I love to work. What do I do? It's scattered right now, but basically right now I'm setting myself up for when we have a bigger office that I can do more. I am doing a little bit of accounts receivables, which I love. I love calling people and having conversations and building relationships.
And saying, pay your bills.
Well, but it's not just that. There's a finesse to accounts receivables, and some people don't like that.
Yeah, I have no interest in it.
Yeah, neither does Miranda. So
yeah, well, there you go.
she has no interest in calling people. She's like, I'll hit a button, but that's all I'm doing.
Yeah, most people don't want to hound people for money.
I don't mind.
I like the getting paid part, but I just don't want to hound people for
My
money.
favorite part is when they're like, oh, Cam knows about this. Like, really, because he hasn't told me, so.
Really, because he told me
Yeah.
he wants his money.
I'm also a part owner, so I don't know about this, so explain
Okay,
it.
so you do a little bit of accounts receivable. What else are you doing right now? What do you want to do? What are you doing?
Right now, I'm also trying to find us a new office space for a reasonable. So if anyone in Prince George is listening to this that has a connection to commercial real estate,
Yep.
please find me on LinkedIn or somewhere.
Sure.
And let me know, because we are looking for that. I basically just keep my ears open for what's going on in the company. So that way, when you come home in tears, I know.
Hey, I don't do that anymore. Only when Matt makes me cry.
Yeah, Matt often makes you cry.
Yeah.
No, so that way I can help with the bigger decisions. Am involved. I'm not really giving a straight answer. I do a little bit of everything.
No, it's not really. What do you want to do? Because what I'm trying to get at is here's what the company. Okay, put it this way: 2018, I start this crazy thing. By 2024, there's 15 people, and it's a multi-million-dollar company. So somewhere along the line, you have increased your involvement. Because in the early days, you didn't have to do anything. I just figured it out. I just started, right? But now you're much more involved. What I'm trying to get at is for like people who are in that same situation. Maybe there is a spouse who sees this company growing and like, oh, you actually pulled it off. We're not, destitute and we didn't get anything repoed. And now they want to help, because the fact is when your company gets to, there's no magic number, but in this industry, what I typically find is like when it gets to like that $1 million mark, things got to change.
Yeah.
Because you can sell your way to $1 million, fairly easy in the asphalt industry. It's executing it and then continuing to grow a stable company that
Building
isn't
those processes.
13 minutes away from bankruptcy sometimes, like how to do that. And so if a spouse sees that and they want to get involved, what I'm trying to figure out is how do you know how much to get involved? Where are you at in this process? I feel like we're just getting into this process now.
I don't have the answer to that.
That's an honest answer.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I kind of right now just do as much as long as nobody tells me to butt out.
No one's ever going to tell you to butt out.
No, but you can tell on people's faces when they're like, get out of here. I got this.
Nobody likes to be micromanaged, or very
No,
few people.
I have no interest in micromanaging, but I do
That's
have an interest in having a part in office happenings. Actually, I have to ask you something.
Oh boy.
Sam yesterday came into the office and was like, you're going to have more to do with sales.
He said that.
He said that to me,
Oh,
and I was like,
that's news to me. What are you going to do?
well, I don't know. That's what I said. And so was it just a Sam thing that he just was like,
Oh, no. I know what he's referring to. See, this is the perfect example of like what you do now, in my opinion. You're like the special assignment person. So it's October. It's
Yeah.
going to snow in like a month. We're not ready for snow as much as we'd like to be. There's a lot of things that we've done, but there's some things we haven't done correctly. A lot of like weird, goofy operational things from a software standpoint. And so I told Sam yesterday, I was like, if we get to a point where like operations, they're currently doing like some crazy big projects right now. They're going to a big facility next week. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of busy. So they're not exactly able to put in a full amount of time to set up the snow. So like I just told Sam, if we ever get to that point where we're like, how are we going to do this? Because they're busy working. Like the two shareholders will literally just sit at their kitchen table at 8 p.m. on a Friday, drink tea, and do it ourselves. We'll crush it out in like 3 hours. So I think that's what he's referring to. There's
crush what out?
Anything that needs to be done.
Oh,
so
yeah,
in this
yeah.
case, it's like, hey, we need to set up like, some customer profiles in our operations software and get the turnover sheet to operations done 100% so that they can execute the snow contract. Like that's a lot of work. And because they're so busy, I feel like this might sound like an insult, but I don't think it's an insult. I think it's a compliment. You're kind of like that stopgap, like, hey,
Catch all.
Yeah, if this doesn't get done, if we don't set up our snow contracts correctly in our snow operations software by November, like we look like fools, and people will be wondering, where's my access to the software? So we have to do that by October 15th. So if we're getting like the week before and they're not 100% done, guess who's up?
Yeah, but I can't do any of that if I have no idea about what's happening in the business.
It's true.
I can't. So yeah, I've said this before, is I'm just kind of like a stopgap, or a catch-all, or special projects, or what was the other thing that I said? Miranda and I were talking about this yesterday. Our office finance manager, project coordinator,
Extraordinary.
Yeah, extraordinaire. I told her she could never leave. We're the type of people, both her and I, where if you put something on our desk, regardless of what it is, you know that it will get done. You don't have to check back in with us. You don't have to guide us on how to get it back. We'll ask questions if we need to, but chances are we'll just Google it and figure it out ourselves. I was given a parts sheet once from a vehicle, and my operations manager then, he said, "Can you find this part?" And I was like, I had no idea what he was talking about, but I did it. And that's kind of what I bring to Laser is like, I don't always know how to go about doing something, but I'll get it done. May not be the perfect way, but incorrect action is always better than inaction.
That's one of my favorite quotes right there. That's perfect. Okay, I wanna wrap it up here with some basically like what's been the lowest and the highest points in the last basically 6 years doing this. So I know you're wincing. So let's start with the lowest. What has been the worst, most difficult, agonizing moments of this business since 2018 up until today? What caused them? Tell us about it. Get into the raw.
The end of 2023, beginning 2024.
That's literally like the beginning of this year.
That was the lowest.
Share with the audience. What about that was so difficult?
So we brought on a brand new operations manager a year ago. And it has forced the company to grow in a good way. That's why we hired him, right? To push the company. Because you don't want to manage operations.
Oh, I stink at managing operations. Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible.
You're great at selling things. You're great with people, but managing the operations and the projects and all of that was severely lacking in expertise. So we brought on our operations manager that specializes in that. But it's been painful. There's been individuals we've lost that or have left the company, or they've
they're not
graduated out of the company.
Sure.
Moved on to things. They're probably happier. But it's painful when you're doing it.
Change is hard.
Change is hard. Change is painful. Change is rough. And I'm grateful for the people that have stuck around through that change. Matt, you're included in that. Because we're going to get through this, and it's going to become something incredible. It is something incredible. But growth is hard. So having those people leave and having those kind of chapters close is really hard to watch. It's really hard to watch people come in, you build a relationship with them, and they're, we've always talked about how the business is there to fuel your life, not your life is there to fuel the business. As our team members, we don't often use the word employees because they're team members, right? I'm never going to go in and talk down to somebody because I'm a part owner. We're equals, right? You have an equal part in growing this thing. We wouldn't be here without you sitting in that chair. So having people leave those chairs is really hard to watch. And then also, just with growth comes growing pains. Changing service providers, let's say, we just had a huge change that way. It's hard to do, but it always comes out with a positive direction afterwards.
Well said. Well said. Okay, last one. And then on a high note, Robyn, last 6 years, what do you enjoy about this? Because it is hard sometimes. What's the benefits of building this thing with me, with the team? What the high points is what I'm looking for.
It's really shallow.
What
You want to hear it?
Answer shallow?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're going to say. What? Oh, I can be home more?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's even more shallow than
more
that.
shallow than that?
Most days, I'm just going to answer you. You don't have to guess.
Okay.
Most days, I can go out and run some errands, and I will see a Laser Pavement Solutions vehicle somewhere. And my heart just explodes. Not because I'm like, we own that, but because I remember the days of the minivan and the blue paint in the back of the leather chairs.
Yeah.
And, scraping paint off of my taillights.
Okay, we got it. Yeah. I made a mess of your van.
And seeing it grow to now a fleet where we have multiple team members who are all invested in watching Laser grow. And I think that's probably the highlight of my voice is getting dry. You and I, majority you, have built that.
It is cool.
I need to drink something.
Trucks driving around the city means good things are happening. The community's being improved in some way. So, that's not shallow at all. What are you talking about?
Also, you take our kids to school, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I take the kids to school in the morning, which is super helpful. Well, I enjoy that part of it too. So there's some long nights, pulling some extra hours getting things done. But yeah, there's benefits to it too. Anything I missed? This has been like a long one. Normally we only go like 30, 40 minutes. But
well, you didn't make me cry, which you said was your goal.
No, it wasn't actually my goal. I just figured you would at some point. I don't know. At this point, like, there's nothing we haven't talked about that's going to make you cry. Like, I'm not going to say anything you haven't heard of before.
No, I think it's pretty awesome, too, that, like, our daughter just started, our oldest she has ADHD, so she starts a new project every other day. But she wants to build her own business, and she called it Laser Beads.
Laser Beads. Did I tell you about Laser Beads? Dude, we got a whole Facebook page and everything. It's pretty unreal.
And I think that's pretty spectacular that our kids can look at us and be anything they want to be. If they don't want to be a part of our business, that's fine. Like, yep. We're not going to force them into it, right? We're not going to raise them on blacktop. I mean, they are raised on blacktop, but
yeah, I mean, it's funded by pavement. It's raised on blacktop. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Yep.
They can be whatever they want to be, and I think right now that they both think that involves laser somehow, and I think that's cool.
There you go. Give us a motivational quote to end it. Want like a really motivating quote.
The answer is always no if you don't ask.
That's a good one. I like that one. All right. That's it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And I'll see you at home.
It was
in like
very
3
nice
hours.
to
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
See you.
Yeah, thank you. Great work.
Spend some time with you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking and subscribing. What else are they supposed to do? I think that's it.
Share.
Just like, subscribe, share. Yes, continue to support the show. Give us your feedback. Let us know who you want to see on the show. All that good stuff. Thank you, Pod Squad.
Thank you, Pod Squad.
Yeah, you. Nice job, Robyn. Keep your stripes hot. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Pod Squad.
I just wanted to say Pod Squad because you say it all the time.
I do say Pod Squad.
Awesome.
That started on episode 2.